And we are live. Hello, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to CSI, Create a Source of Inspiration. My name is Ca'ryna. Our co-host is Colleen, and we have this beautiful angel guest, Liz O'Hara. Welcome, everyone, and welcome all of you who want to take these brief moments to get an uplifting. And that's why we're here, to spread some light and some love. And we'd love to hear from you in the comments as well. But we will be playing the replay for you if you missed this time frame. So welcome, everyone. Welcome, welcome. So Liz.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you for being here. It's been a year.
It's been just about a year. Yeah, it was last May when I was on with you.
And there's a lot going on now in this year's time.
Yeah.
And I did hear this wonderful story of what has been inspiring you. But the first question is for you. I'd like the audience to hear from a different perspective of what is inspiration for you. Because
I'm curious what I said last time you asked me that question. So maybe I'll have to go back and check. What is inspiration for me? I'm going to say it's something that feeds my soul. And it's often in unexpected places and comes in unexpected ways.
Oh, I love it. So,
yeah.
So see, this allows people to understand that inspiration comes from anywhere and everybody can receive inspiration. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're in. It doesn't matter what is going on in your life, good, bad, or indifferent. It's there if you're just in a space to receive. Would you beautiful ladies agree with that?
Absolutely.
So having said that, inspiration does sometimes take its different forms of how it shows up in our life, right? And Liz, you have something coming up where you have a very powerful inspirational story behind what is coming up, which is Take Back Your Health and Then Your Life, which is going to be in a live event on the 21st of May. And then I follow you on the 30th, the following week. So I would love for you to share what inspiration brought you to that point, because as an energy worker and as artist, you were doing these amazing things last year. And
Thank you.
Please share.
Yeah, and so I'm still doing those because that is actually something that feeds my inspiration and hopefully inspires the people who view them or who I, custom make them for as well. And in fact, I made one for you. You won a raffle last year, and I actually ended up making one of my light painting healings for you as well. So that's kind of a nice reference. That hadn't happened yet the last time we spoke, but so there's a couple reasons. One is for my own personal journey through chronic illness or a chronic condition. And I really am, it's really something that affects a lot of people, and a lot of people either have been told or really just assume, like in my experience, even people I work with, it's kind of come to me under the assumption that, oh, I've had this for a long time, or, it's just, it's there. And there's not really much we can do about that, but we can work on other things. And, do
you notice at the time that these people that have experienced the chronic conditions for a long time, they start to take ownership of it and they don't know that there is a way to shift out of it?
Yeah. And so that's the thing. A lot of times it's a label or a diagnosis, and it's not necessarily the same for, like, not everybody who has the same named condition has the same sort of blueprint of that condition or source of that condition, or even like the way it manifests, right? And so we were talking beforehand that there are people who are sort of in the energy healing world who have this perspective, right? That I feel like everyone should have access to, about what's fixed, and also where the source of some of these ailments actually are. And so what else we were talking about before we went live was, I was saying that because last year we were talking about these healing art pieces that I was making. And
Beautiful, by the way.
oh, thank you.
They have a dual purpose. It's not just moving the energy for you, but it's also beautiful pieces of art. So
oh, thank you. Yeah. And so what actually ended up happening was, like I said, I had this experience. I've helped people who have had these conditions shift their conditions. And then I moved because I was really excited and inspired by these channeled healing creations that I was making. But I found that they actually could do that same kind of shift. There's one woman in particular who comes to mind who never got a diagnosis. She kept going to the doctors, but she had these symptoms that were persisting. And, that was an example of a piece that I sent to her that actually was really effective, and that started happening a few times. And I thought, you know what? Like, I don't want this to just be for people who already know how to do this for themselves. And, truthfully, for many years before I became an energy healer, I would seek practitioners who could help me in these ways, whether it was a shamanic practitioner, or, chiropractics, or, a range of different types of, modalities, ancestral work. And then and so there's something different about receiving it than actually participating in it. And so that's why this event that's called Take Back Your Health, Take Back Your, like, I'll say something more. I went from being passive to being a participant, to making the declaration that I wanted to become a practitioner. And there's something about being in control and also being supported as you go through that process there's a magic mix in there.
absolutely.
And honestly, if we're talking about being inspired, like, that magic mix is also just really inspirational to witness, to be a part of, and have to gone through myself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well said. Because it is true. It is a magic formula that happens. And yes, you mentioned coming from the space of pretty much being passive, the observer, but then becoming active, the participant. And then from there, making the commitment of the declaration. All of that starts to shift because now you're embodying all the energy and connecting into your full being. And so then, yes, since we are all about connection and we are about to help empower people to understand this is what they already have. They just don't know how to work with it yet. And yes, the outside world likes to put labels on things. And yes, there is power in the words. So taking ownership of something that you don't want any longer is not allowing that energy to leave, but you don't ignore it and you don't not acknowledge it. You just don't take ownership and attachment of it so the energy can move freer. So there is a lot to this, really. It sounds simplistic in a way. And on the other side, It sounds kind of woo-woo, but it isn't really. It is spiritual science.
Mhm.
It is really in play, and it is as real as something you can't touch, like gravity. It impacts you all the time. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but you can feel it. And this is the same thing that we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really well said. Yeah. And you're right. I mean, I go back to, Reiki, because I feel like I often go back to Reiki because it's something I feel like um is a universal example that more people sort of can sort of get their fingers in there. Do you know
They
what I
can wrap
mean?
their head around it a little bit
Yeah,
more.
exactly.
Yes, it's true.
And hospitals invite Reiki practitioners in. So there's an acknowledgement that, that the physical body is not the only thing at play. That there's, it's, I feel like, and my hope is, but my feeling also is that it's not as far out there as it even was, a decade ago,
Right. Because it really isn't. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going from a place of really acceptance now, not just acknowledgement, but the acceptance that
Mm-hmm.
these are true practices, and they are. And the term really only goes woo woo because you can't touch the intangible. But I actually bring people into a practice that they can feel it and it becomes
Mm-hmm.
tangible so they understand, in their mind starts to allow that. And yes, with Reiki, as being a Reiki master teacher, we do work with certain movements of energy, which is not something we outwardly divulge. It's just something that we help start moving the energy for the individual, especially where it has been collected in a
Mm-hmm.
spot and concentrated, whether there's a form of disconnection in them at the time,
Mm-hmm.
or almost like if you take a garden hose and you crunch it over, the water flow won't go through it. It's just like so it's not even a full disconnection. It's just a kink in the line. And
Mm-hmm.
so we unkink it.
Right, right.
And then once that sensation and they feel that embodiment of that energy, they now can relate to it, and they can go back and revisit it. And that's how they start empowering themselves. So yes, it's an amazing thing and gift that we have an opportunity to do to help people. And
Mm-hmm.
it really is a very sacred practice. And
Yeah. Yeah, I know that's a lot of the work that you do as well, right? Is empowering people and helping them to find their own path through, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I do give them the boost with the shifting their energy for them when they're with me in workshops and
Yeah.
they come into programs, because it moves it quantumly for them. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be doing one on the 30th, the workshop. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to it again. And anybody that wants to really have a shift in their life, then please come. But this time though, I have learned, because of how I've practiced in the past, in person in workshops where I've had groups of people in a room, and also in my own studio, that everybody, no matter what, is present, and everybody is also participating. And I
Mm-hmm.
need those two ingredients to help them.
Right.
So I finally made a strong decision that from here on out, when I do any workshops, then everybody has to have their cameras on and they have to participate, because
Mm.
they can't receive if they don't, but it impacts everybody else that's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a bold stand, and I'm
I
taking
think
it.
about I think about that sometimes when I'm on a group call and I know that I'm not fully present, like I'm there with my camera off and my kids are sort of like my split attention. I wonder if I should leave, because I feel like it, depending on, what kind of Zoom meeting it is, that when people are doing that, that they're bringing outside energy that's pulling focus, even if nobody who's physically on, at the Zoom meeting could know that, right? Like, there's no way for them to know that that's happening, but energetically, that has occurred to me before. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really does happen. So I would love to inspire everybody out there, whenever you engage in a class or a workshop, have an area that's undisturbing, make sure ahead
Mm-hmm.
of time, and be
Mm-hmm.
fully present and engage.
Yeah.
Because as Liz had already said, she went from being passive to active to a declaration. And that's how you start shifting in your life, and amazing things start opening. And with that, we would love for amazing things to open up in everybody's life that comes to us as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
that's my encouraging word for today when it comes to that. And so tell us just a little bit more of your journey from this amazing energy art to where you are now going to be doing this type of workshop.
Yeah, sure. So, it's funny. I'll just share this pretty candidly. So, going into this work required me to go back to my chronic condition, right? And revisit that time in my life. And it's what you were talking about, without reclaiming ownership of it. Excuse me. without, re-
You can take the
it's
water.
because I'm
It's
talking
okay.
about it. Without reclaiming ownership of it. And so it's something that I resisted doing in the beginning and for a while. Like you were talking about the inspiration. Like, I want it to be coming from a place of inspiration, but really hope is like a really inspirational thing, right? And so no matter what else, like, I was drawn to try and do, and like the creative, and I'm not saying that this doesn't have a creative component as well, but in the creative world of energy healing, the people who kept coming to me, or the people I kept being drawn back to help, were people, who were in this place that I described earlier, right? Where, it's not clear whether this is something that will end or not. And so, um, and so one of the things I'll actually be introducing on Tuesday is a group program, and it's interesting because you were sort of talking about this. It's a real combo. And I won't spend the whole time talking about this, because I really want to give people things that they can start doing right now, and that's really the focus of my event on Tuesday. But I will touch on this group program, and it has three components. One is, you know, a group calls, so that everybody is sort of feeling connected to each other on some level. And one is a self-guided course, which I will not offer. I don't feel I will ever offer completely independently of the other two, because I think that this piece of being supported is a really big piece, of not sort of feeling like I've got to figure this out on my own.
Absolutely.
Um,
That connection
and
is very critical.
yeah, and then the third piece is individual sessions with me, so that I can help them map their own, sort of, I guess we could call it a map or a blueprint of their physical, emotional, energetic, sort of field, right? Everything that's
Right.
happening all at once. So we're not taking it apart and saying, okay, well, we're going here for the energy work and we're going here because we have these symptoms, right? And then we're going to see somebody because we have to deal with these symptoms and everything that's going on emotionally. We're mapping it all together so that, so
Exactly.
that they can really get to understand themselves and then learn how to release, clear, reorganize what needs to happen within them. And that's sort of the ultimate goal. Now, obviously, at the event, we're going to touch on those things, but that's really what I keep using this word. I was inspired to do because this information isn't secret, but there's so much information out there about all these different modalities and this and that um a lot of times we stumble upon the answer by accident, and I sort of want to give people some
Aww.
some I know
You know
but
how I
that
feel about
takes
that one.
but that's the thing, and that's actually a story I'm going to be sharing as well on Tuesday. um but those accidents sometimes take years. Do you know what I'm saying? And so this is sort of some, like, neon arrows that say, hey, we maybe look over here or over there
Right.
over there. So
Exactly.
you know
Well, that is absolutely fantastic, and I know it's going to be amazing. And even though there is so much information out there, first off, the universe has the information. It just pours into us as receptacles if we're ready to receive it. I mean,
Absolutely.
it is that simple. And yes, things are lined up in divine timing, as you know. I'm a strong believer in that from all my experiences. And yes, sometimes we just go after things as a hit or miss because
Hmm.
we're actually not connected to ourselves yet, and we're looking for every answer outside of ourselves instead of knowing that the answer is inside.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but eventually they, when you resonate, you find us and we take you and help you and get the rest of the way. This is absolutely wonderful, Liz, and I really encourage anybody to come on the 21st, come meet Liz. Definitely be open-minded and open-hearted. This is
Mm.
how it works. But I'm also going to encourage you to keep your cameras on and participate and engage, because that's how you're all going to actually start receiving the
Mm.
information. And you'll be able to determine, is this right for me? And sometimes it doesn't happen right then either. It opens up organically. So don't come with expectancy, just come with embracing. And I say that too for the workshops that you come with me.
Yeah.
But there we are.
Yeah.
Well, it was lovely, ladies, and I think what we're going to do, because we don't want to keep people too long, please come if you want to rehear any part of this. You know how to control the replay. You can fast forward to grab a section if it really speaks to you. Please have people come and visit anybody you know who needs to be uplifted or curious in any of these areas. And I am going to ask you, please come and subscribe, because we're figuring out a way to get you a lovely free gift. And we want to be a continual source of inspiration, uplifting, and information and experiential for you.
Mm.
There, we
Beautiful.
got it all. So,
Awesome.
Liz, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, Colleen, even though Colleen's been quiet, but she's been watching our tech to make sure we actually got on this time. And we thank you very much. Without your help, we wouldn't be here. And we can't wait to hear from you. Also, give us any area that you would like to hear more about. And next week, we are going to have a live show called Holistic Health on Topic. And this now is going to open a broader range of anything that impacts your life, guess what? That's everything. So have more speakers come in different areas, finance, thyroid issues, anything that you can imagine will eventually come up. But if there's something you would really like to get more insight about from an expert, please give us the information what you like, and we will research that, and we will do our very best to bring it to you. Until then, we send so much love and radiant blessings to all of you. Thank you for being with us. We will put all the links in over in the replay. And so until next time, God bless.